See the
Yes,
screen?
sir. Yeah, yeah.
Any doubts? Anything you read?
Sir,
Yes, Fatima.
I will have to leave because we are going outside.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to get your hands on the video then, right?
Yes,
Make
please.
sure that you have. Yeah. Okay.
Will you please send me the video?
You just text on the WhatsApp group because it's recorded and it's with the admins, like the operations team. So they will send you. The link does
All
not
right,
come
no
to
problem.
me because I am not recording it.
Okay, sir, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Arpit and Matthew, any doubts before we
No,
begin?
sir.
So,
Yes, Arpit.
sir, tomorrow we will have the class at the same time.
No, it's just for today because I have some prior academic engagement, so that's why. Tomorrow it will be normal, the full class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So since this is a shorter one, so I'll not waste any further time, and let's start with cancer. Yeah, so I think we discussed the basics in the last class, correct? And I told you already that cancer is an uncontrolled growth of cells in a tissue, right? This we all understand, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, what we don't still fully understand, we understand a lot about cancer, but why is this growth uncontrolled? So you both must be knowing that every cell in our body grows, right? Did we talk about contact inhibition in the last class? No, I think, right? So the cancerous cells, they have lost the property of contact inhibition. Now, if you want to understand contact inhibition, it means, as the word suggests, whenever there are two cells which come in contact with each other and their membranes or their boundaries come in contact with each other, there is a signaling between the two, and it means that now there is no further scope for dividing or growing bigger and bigger. So that's called contact inhibition. Now, this property keeps our organs in shape, keeps all the linings intact, everything in place. Whenever we get an injury or a wound, or we lose certain cells from any part of the body, then if there are cells which can divide and repair, there are always these cells present in every organ. So they start dividing, they fill the gap for the missing cells, and again when they come in contact, due to this contact inhibition, they stop. Okay. In cancerous cells, this property is lost. Make sense? Now, why is this property lost, or what's happening? What causes cancer?
Sir, can you explain again what is contact inhibition?
Yeah, so I just said that whenever there is any wound in our body, okay, any cells are missing, we always have cells in our organs that divide and repair the injury or replace the missing cells, right?
Yes, sir.
Make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, in case of cancer, so in case of normal cells, whenever the repair is happening or an injury is there, or due to any other reasons, the cell are dividing. Whenever they again come in contact after they have replaced all the missing cells and the space has been filled, they stop dividing because of contact inhibition. But in cancerous cells, even if the cells are in contact with each other, they are putting force on each other, they don't stop dividing and they become a tumor. Tumor is a very highly compact mass of cells. Okay. Now do you understand, Arpit? Make sense?
Oh, yes, sir. Sir, the question came in exam and sir, I wrote like, it is the property of the cells to be in contact. And sir, like, I scored it is.
No. It's So it's not the property of the cells to be in contact, but the cells have to be in contact. Otherwise, there will be gaps in our body. No, if the cells are not in contact, we will never be able to make a layer.
Yes,
Yeah.
and now it's clear. So yes.
Yeah, but there is a property of contact inhibition. So when you contact each other, you inhibit the growth, because that tells that, see, everything is repaired, all the space is filled. Now we don't have to divide any further. So let's stop. So if you follow the property of contact inhibition, no cell will grow beyond the limit. So no cell will become a tumor. But in cancer, this property is lost. So they do not get inhibited upon contact. They continue dividing. That's why they become a tumor, and they break the layer and come out as a tumor. Even invade the nearby tissues and start damaging those tissues as well. Do you understand?
Yes. Sir, is it always necessary if a person is cancerous, he will have a tumor?
Yes. Like in case of blood cancer, because blood is a liquid tissue, there is no.
Sir, that is what I was going to ask.
Yeah. So tumor is a solid thing, right? So in case of blood cancers, what happens? Blood becomes denser and denser because WBCs keep on dividing and dividing and go beyond a number. So there should be around 6,000, 4,000 to 6,000 WBCs per millimeter cube of blood. But if it goes beyond that, it doubles or triples. This means that the person is having blood cancer. Okay. And one of my question is, why doesn't RBC uncontrollably divide in blood cancer? Why only WBCs? Because we name blood cancer as leukemia by the name of leukocytes, WBCs. Why not RBCs divide? Why there is no cancer due to RBCs, only due to WBCs? So think about it. If anyone knows the answer among the two, can tell, or think about it. It's an interesting question. Okay. It has also been asked once, but not after that. So any idea, any attempts? Why only WBCs divide uncontrollably and not RBCs? No? Okay, it's an easy one. You can just Google and you will figure out. So, but try to figure out the right answer. There are many wrong answers on Google as well. Okay. So think which is more logical and then come up with an answer. But yes, so as you asked, in general, apart from blood cancer, if there's any other kind of cancer, there is tumor, because those are solid tissues. In case of blood cancers, there is no visible tumor, but it's the cancer of the WBCs. Okay, Arpit, does that?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what causes cancer? What is the problem? And also, due to this contact inhibition, the development of tumor takes place. Okay. Sorry. Hello, Zaid. How are you?
Fine.
So after so long, you joined in the last class as well, but you left early.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you fine? Are you keeping well?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Okay, so we are studying cancer today. Okay, Zaid?
Yes.
Okay. So as I said, contact inhibition, losing contact inhibition leads to development of tumor. Now, tumor can be of two types. One is called benign tumor, and the other is called malignant tumor. Now, any idea what is a benign tumor and what is a malignant tumor?
So benign
Can is
tumor
more
do not.
severe.
Yes, let's go with Arpit. Yes, Arpit.
So benign tumor, it does not spread.
It does not spread. What do you mean by does not spread?
Like, sir, in the case of malignant tumor, sir, it flows into the blood and the tumor is spread all over the body.
Okay, so what happens in case of benign tumor?
Sir, it does not. I don't know.
So you're right. So both tumors grow. Okay. So people often think that it's about growth. It's not about growth. Even benign tumors can grow big. Okay. But the point is, wherever they start, they only grow there. So as Zad is writing, yes, Zad, you're correct. Benign tumor remains at its original place. It can grow, but it will remain at its original organ or original place. So benign tumors are mostly harmless, but can also be harmful if they are growing big enough at a crucial place in any organ. For example, let's say you have a benign tumor in your leg or the thigh, where a very important artery or nerve is just besides it, and it grows and compresses that nerve or the artery. Okay, so in that case, it can cause some harm also to the person. Do you understand? It can lead to paralysis, but it just have to be sheer luck, like it's a chance event. Okay, so benign is mostly, that's why I say mostly, not always. It's mostly harmless, and it can be removed after a simple surgical procedure, and it does not spread.
Sir,
Yes.
so can a wart be considered as a benign tumor?
Can a
Wart.
what? Wart. Okay, okay. Sorry, I understood. WART. What?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's
Wart. WART. So there is something
Yeah.
called wart. This warts.
rashes? Yeah.
You must have heard of genital warts.
So
It is
it's a STD, right?
it happens. If it is genital warts, it can spread through STD. So warts
Yeah,
are
yeah.
benign growth on the skin, and warts are caused by viruses mostly. Okay. So, and specifically, there is a virus called papilloma virus. In humans, it is called human papilloma virus, HPV. It's an infectious virus, and that causes warts. But the problem with warts is, in warts, it is not a normal tumor like a cancerous tumor, because in tumor, it is cells that are dividing and forming the lump. Okay, Arpit?
Yes.
Whereas in warts, this virus which is infecting, it causes an excess amount of protein synthesis, keratin especially. So you know keratin is a protein
Yes.
which is present in our hard substances like hair, nails.
Yes.
know?
Yes.
Yeah. So keratins or other hard proteins, it starts secreting in large amount and starts what do you say, accumulating in the epidermis. Okay.
Yes.
So that's how the warts get a very tough texture. So it's kind of a lump. There are cells also, but
Yes.
it is benign because it does not spread. So benign just means it does not spread. But in true sense, it is not like the tumor that we see in cancer. It is not just cells dividing. Okay.
Yes, sir. But like sometime it grows, or it becomes like a
It will grow,
small.
of course. It will grow because cells will grow and divide, but it is not just cells. Okay. It is also the proteins like keratin that starts depositing and making it more and more. And it warts often happens, warts are limited to the epidermis. You will never see a wart very deep inside an organ. It happens on the skins, genital
Yes.
skin. Okay. So that is another difference. Whereas cancer can happen anywhere, any deep inside the lungs, inside the liver, very deep inside the body also cancer can happen, or tissue or a real tumor can happen. Okay, so even warts
Yes.
are very of different kinds: filiform warts, common warts, flat warts. There are very different kinds. So some are flattened, some are like lump, some are like threads also. So warts can also develop like threads because these tough proteins, they start depositing like a fiber. So that also happens. Thin, long threads, they are formed. But mostly they are caused by human papilloma virus, and it's a STD. That's the difference. Okay.
Yes.
So you can call it benign, but not necessarily a true tumor. Okay.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, Zed. Common warts are different from genital warts. Okay. Common warts are called verruca vulgaris, but it can also be caused by HPV. So it can be a STD. Okay. Common is okay, Zed. Do you understand? Common, flat, or filiform, whatever it is, they are all different kind of warts based on the shape. and their texture. Okay, so
Yes.
warts are called verruca in science. So this is the term verruca. If it is verruca, if it is a flat wart, it is called verruca plana. Plana means plain, means flat. Common is called vulgaris, which is the STD also. And then filiform is the thread-like. Okay.
Yes.
So they are not cancerous. They also don't turn into cancer. There is no report that warts have become cancer. They are caused by HPV and they are skin growths. They do not happen deep under the tissue. That's the difference. Shall I move forward?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So benign do not spread, and which means it is localized and it is mostly harmless. Whereas malignant, it can spread. And when I say spread, it can spread to different organs. Okay, which means it is not localized, it is invasive. Invasive is something that invades the other territory. And it is very, very dangerous or harmful. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
In case of cancer, only malignant tumors are called cancerous tumors. If it is a benign tumor, we do not call them cancerous tumor. Cancer can never be benign. Cancer is only malignant. That's why it's a deadly disease. And cancer causes a lot of death. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
So benign and malignant both are clear.
Yes, sir.
Now, this property by which they spread to different organs, you know, they can move, these tumors can move through blood. They can also move without going through the blood, but directly from one organ to another if they are nearby organs. Because remember, they grow and they invade the nearby tissues. So mostly they go through blood. Okay. So when they go through blood, when they are just spreading by size, by just invading into the nearby tissues, that's simply growth of a cancerous tumor. But when even one single cell or couple of cells from the tumor, if they get detached from the tumor and get into the bloodstream, so they can be carried like a river carries anything, they get carried to some other organ, there they can again get lodged or they get attached and they can start causing a new tumor there. So that kind of movement through blood, okay, through blood, that kind of movement is called metastasis. And metastasis is a property of cancerous tumors. So when we say that this tumor has metastasized, it means that it has become cancerous. Is it clear, everyone? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Yeah. Now talking about the causes. So what do you think? How does cancer happen? Cancer is not it's not transmittable. It's not a communicable disease, as we all know, like AIDS. AIDS was a communicable disease. Cancer is not. So what causes cancer?
Inheritance, sometimes.
Sorry?
Sometimes inheritance, like there is some specific gene, I believe.
Yes, sometimes, right. So cancer, one of the reason can be genetics. Okay. But whatever causes cancer, okay, whatever is the reason, the agents that cause cancer are called carcinogens. Okay.
So it can also be caused by smoking.
Exactly, because cigarette contains a lot of carcinogens. They are chemicals.
So what about benzene? Like a news came like in Abu Dhabi, they banned some soaps like Dove because of they were having carcinogens.
Yes. So see, about carcinogen, first of all, there is a lot of ambiguity. As far as clinical research suggests, there are many things which we call as carcinogens, but their potential as a carcinogen has not been properly evaluated. So nicotine, for that matter, is a sure shot carcinogen. It has been proved a carcinogen through research. Okay, the most trusted carcinogen. But you must have seen that even some people smoke tobacco for a very long time and they don't get cancer. They don't die of cancer. They can die of other lung diseases like asthma, emphysema, a lot of tar in their lungs, breathing disorders, but not necessarily due to cancer. Sometimes people who never smoke, never had alcohol can still get cancer. Correct? So these things also depend on body. It's like of course, but smoking will have harm. Cancer is the most epitome. Like if you get cancer due to smoking, you're gone. But like you are saying, many food and chemical items used for like skin, for what we call it, cosmetic items, contain certain things which can irritate the skin and can act as a carcinogen in a long run. So it's not like you will use Dove and you will get cancer. But if someone is using Dove and there is a chemical that has potential to irritate or cause damage to the cells or the nucleus, scientists sometimes put them in a category of carcinogens. Okay. Do you understand that, Zed?
Yes.
Yeah. So one of so these carcinogens, as let me first make it clear to you, they can be physical carcinogens. Now this is very interesting. Something physical that can cause cancer. You know about anything which is physical and can cause cancer?
Sir, our teacher told that a poor diet can be a cause.
The tobacco.
Poor diet.
Yes, sir.
How can poor diet cause cancer?
I don't know, sir. We wrote in our books also. She made us write this.
I don't think poor diet can cause malnutrition. Malnutrition can cause a lot of problems in the body. But malnutrition activating any gene which is cancerous, I think your teacher is taking a very, very big leap of faith in science and connecting these two dots. But let's talk about some direct things first. I don't think poor diet can cause cancer. Okay. Otherwise, all the poor countries should have problem of cancer. All the poor people must be suffering from cancer, right? Everyone below poverty line should have cancer.
No, say like poor diet means unhealthy or junk food, something like that. Maybe
Okay. So it's not poor diet. Then it's then you should say it's harmful diet.
harmful, actually.
That has
Sorry.
been associated, again, not studied well. For example, eating chips, can it cause cancer? We don't know. Eating burger, can it cause cancer? We don't know. Actually, we don't know. We just associate that a poor lifestyle can lead to a stress which is called as a genetic stress on the body and can lead to activation of many cancerous oncogenes, genes. So that's just speculation. A proper study in terms of, even I don't know, I have not come across a research paper. I try to figure out if your teacher says that. I cannot say if the teacher is wrong or right, but I don't, as per now, I don't think that there is a very direct link between if you are eating something which contains carcinogen, then of course, for example, tobacco, chewing tobacco or smoking cigarette can directly cause cancer, yes. But eating something like a burger or any junk food, pizza, or if your teacher is talking about that, then I'm not very sure. You have to look. But when I'm talking about physical means a real physical thing. For example, you must have heard of UV radiation, right? It's a physical thing, physical factor. It's a radiation. Another radiation is X-ray. So X-ray radiations or gamma radiations. You know about gamma rays? Gamma rays are the most energy containing rays. So the most energy rich rays are called gamma rays. UV rays, X-rays, they all have very high energy, and how they can cause cancer is they can penetrate into the cell and cause damage to our DNA. Now you must be wondering, oh no, I have done X-ray in my life. You all have been, I hope, like I don't hope, but I think we all have had X-rays at one point or the other in our lives. If not, then your childhood was not very, very active, because kids always get some or the other kind of fractures or some or the other kind of problem due to which they get chest X-ray at least done?
Yes, sir. I had twice.
Twice, right? So it's okay. It's still a very happening childhood. So why do we use X-ray when we know that it can be of carcinogen? Why are we using it for therapeutics or diagnosis?
We don't have alternate method.
No. We use it within the safe limit. So there is something called safe limit. So we know that at what power of X-ray. So because these are rays, we can control their radiation limit. We can control how intense it's just like light. So when doctor checks your pupil, sometimes it says open your eyes and flashes a torch in your eye, right? Have you seen eye examinations where doctors look at ask the person to open the eye or open the eye forcefully and flash torch into the eye?
Yes.
So that has a very low light intensity, because if you try to make a flash torch or something very high intensity light or a laser, the eyes will go blind, correct? So similarly, X-ray and UV are just like light, they are radiations. We can control their intensity, and X-ray, which is used for diagnosis, is very low intensity and within the safe limit. So you can get your X-ray done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 10 times in your life and will not get cancer. It's below the threshold. But a person who's doing your X-ray, they are continuously subjected to these even low intensity. So they always, you must have noticed, whenever you get into X-ray room, only you are there. There's no one standing beside you. They just ask you to stand and then they go back. They go beyond within a room, right? And then they do something and then they say, okay, come out now, correct? Because they don't want to be exposed. So these are physical carcinogens. They can cause cancer by damaging the DNA. Okay. Then comes chemical carcinogens. These are what you already have told me. You told nicotine, right? Nicotine is a chemical carcinogen. If you smoke it or chew tobacco, nicotine is present in tobacco. So it can cause cancer. Okay. Any other carcinogen, chemical carcinogen apart from nicotine? This one called ethidium bromide. I will teach you about ethidium bromide. We use it at one place during
Sir, for staining
for staining what? Yes, you're right.
in the gel electrophoresis.
But what are we staining in gel electrophoresis?
The gene of interest.
The DNA.
Sir,
Right? Yes, it is the gene of interest, but you can simply say DNA. It's the DNA, right? You can mark any DNA by ethidium bromide. Okay, anyways. So these are chemical. Now coming to the third, there can be biological carcinogens as well. Any idea what are biological carcinogens?
Sun.
Sun is not biological. Biological means life. Sun is not living substance. Arpit, what happened to your biology? Biological means which are in the biological realm.
What about smoking?
What about?
Smoking?
Smoking is nicotine, comes into chemical carcinogen. Let me write tobacco here so that it's more clear. Biological is there are some viruses that can cause cancer. So viruses infect the cell. It's a biological phenomena where viruses infect the cell, and they have genes which are called viral oncogenes. So these viruses are called oncoviruses. If someone gets these oncoviruses infection, they have a gene, they contain oncoviral gene. So viruses inject their genome into the cells. That this we all know. This we studied from AIDS only. Now this is a very interesting part where some kind of cancers can happen due to oncoviruses, but they don't spread from person to person. This is one thing which is very weird, right? We have not seen viruses infecting human causing cancer, then from that human infecting other human and causing cancer. So that's why, even though there are some viruses that can cause cancer, they are first very rare. They are not very common viruses around us. Second, even they do not transmit from person to person, so it's not communicable. We don't know why yet. Like, we have not studied this in proper detail. The research is still going on to understand. We just know that they contain some oncoviral genes. Now, these oncoviral genes are not something new. Okay. These oncogenes, or which are called cellular oncogenes, are normally present in humans as well. You know about any cellular oncogene which is present? I think Matthew started with saying that there are certain genes that mutate and cause cancer,
Yes, sir.
right? You know about any such gene which is already present in our own cells, which we do not get from virus, because oncogenes are very common.
Sir, I read about this. I forgot the name. So,
Okay. So in our body, there is a gene called BRCA1. BRCA1 and BRCA2. Okay. Now, the word BR stands for breast, and the word CA stands for cancer. It was first identified from a breast cancer patient, but that does not mean that it only causes breast cancer. It is associated with all cancers. It is just a gene that was discovered during breast cancer, so it was named breast cancer 1 gene. But it is there in all humans, okay, even in other animals. So this gene, when get mutated, okay, can lead to cancer. Cancerous tumor. Now you must be thinking, if this is a bad gene, what it is doing inside our body, correct? Any idea? Why do we have this gene if it has the potential to cause cancer? Because this gene is present in normal cells. So one simple answer is, which is true also, that it is a very crucial gene. Only when mutated, it can go haywire, but normally it is very important for cellular division and regulation of many processes. So that's why it's there. But all the genes which have the potential to cause cancer once they mutate are called oncogenes. Okay. There is another name for this. Sometimes books also refer to them as proto-oncogenes. The word oncogene means cancerous genes. Is it clear, everyone?
yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, very well. So how the cause and everything is clear. Now let's come to diagnosis. So how will you detect and diagnose cancer? Tell me.
A biopsy?
Yes, detection and diagnosis. What is a biopsy? So let's go see one by one. So first of all, cancer is very fatal a disease. It's lethal, but it can be cured. Not all types of cancers are equally lethal. Some type of cancers or some kind of cancers can be cured if detected at very early stage. Okay, it can be treated successfully also. In many cases, many people have defeated cancer and they are living very well. But cancer detection at early stage is a very big issue, because it has to be detected. Now, one way that I think Matthew just said is biopsy. Matthew, do you know what is a biopsy?
It's like when you take a part of your organ and then like detect it. I think it's
So what
somewhere
are you
around
going to detect?
the cancerous cells. That is.
How are you going to detect cancerous cells? They look like cells only, right? But what will be different that will tell you that, oh, this is a cancerous cell and this is not a cancerous cell?
So the cancerous cells
I'm
are
not sure about it.
dividing very fastly.
First, they will be dividing very fastly, but to know that if they are dividing very fastly, you have to culture it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But when you are taking, for example, biopsies, first of all, Matthew's right. Biopsy means that you take a piece of the suspected tissue from that organ. So wherever you feel that the doctors upon examination feel that there is a cancer, for sometimes whenever they see a tumor in places where benign tumors normally do not occur, for example, in the uterus of women, or for example, in male abdomen or in lungs or somewhere else. So tumors are not very common in these areas. So whenever there is a tumor, the first suspicion is that, is it cancerous? So they take a small part of a tissue sample, which can be very easily taken. You just make a small hole and send a tube with a pinching equipment at the end, just like endoscopy. It will just pinch a small part of that tissue and bring it back. And then you can stain it to look at different cancer specific antigens. So we have developed antibodies against cancer specific antigens. Okay. So whenever you take this tissue and you just want to directly detect that if these cells are cancerous, they must be producing and secreting cancer specific antigens from these cells that normal cells do not secrete, right? Some altered proteins. Protein misfolding or altered proteins are a big reason for cancer. Okay. So if you know that this protein or this misfolded protein or this altered gene is responsible for cancer, and cancer cells secrete this kind of a wrong thing, or this kind of a molecule which can be the cancer specific antigen, then you develop antibodies against them and you can stain with these antibodies. And if you find that there are certain molecules stained, which means they are the antigens, so which means the tissue is cancerous. Correct? So write down biopsy. Taking a piece of the suspected tissue, taking a piece of the suspected tissue and it's cut into very thin slices. It's cut into very thin slices and then stained for cancer specific antigens. And then
Sir, can you repeat it again? From taking a piece of tissue.
taking a piece of tissue and then tissue, it's cut into thin slices. It's cut into thin slices and is stained for cancer specific antigens. Cancer specific antigens. It can then be examined under the microscope. It can then be examined under the microscope. And this type of a test is called histopathological study. The word histo here is for tissue. Pathological means for a disease. So whenever we study a tissue for a disease diagnosis, it's called histopathological study. If you go to a hospital, you will find histopathological department, histopathology lab. Correct? Do you understand, people?
Yes.
So this is one way. Any other way, you know, we can detect cancer? If not, biopsy. if we do not want to cut inside or go inside, then what we can do? We can use radiations. There is something called radiography. Radio means the radiation waves, and graphy means making a picture or a recording it. So in radiography, what we do is we use X-ray, okay, or magnetic radiation. Either you use magnets or X-rays or CT. Have you heard of these terms? So CT also uses X-rays. So you can use X-ray, like in case of CT. CT scan. Have you heard of this term, CT scan?
Yes, sir.
It means computed tomography. CT scan. It will tell you tumors or tumor-rich regions in the body. Okay. So this is by using X-rays. Again, at controlled. So this can also cause cancer, but we use it to diagnose cancers also. Second is MRI. Have you heard of MRI? It's called magnetic resonance imaging. In this, magnetic radiations are sent inside the body. And on the basis of these, if there are cancerous tumors, you will get to know their signatures. Okay. So these are both sending rays in the body to look for any tumor or cancer. So in CT, especially, in MRI, it's like slices. You are checking for your body in slices. In CT, we can just take all the slices and make a 3D picture, 3-dimensional image of the internal organs. Okay. So MRI uses strong magnetic waves. Okay. Strong magnetic waves and non-ionizing radiation. There are two types of radiations: ionizing and non-ionizing. Ionizing radiation is, which is the power of the radiation is very high. And once you send these radiations inside the body, they can convert atoms into ions. You must have studied in physics or in chemistry that if you provide enough energy to an electron, the electron will leave the atom, correct? That's called electron. What do you call it? It has a term where you give electron energy and you take out electron and convert that atom which was neutral into a positive charged ion now. You can also make an electron go into the atom. So that's anything that makes ions is called ionizing radiation. It has more power, and non-ionizing radiations do not convert. But both CT scan and MRI tells you about physiological changes or pathological conditions in the living tissues. Okay. So biopsy, radiography are the techniques by which you can, or third, as I said, that we use in biopsy also, antibody staining. You can also do it like for blood cancer, where you cannot see a tumor, right? Someone asked about, we were discussing about blood cancer, right? So antibody staining against cancer specific antigens. This we can do in case of blood cancer also, because might be MRI or CT scan or biopsy. Biopsy can still work, but CT scan or MRI cannot, for sometimes very reliably, it cannot tell you about blood cancer. But this technique can. There has to be cancer specific antigens if there is a cancer, and then you can stain for that using antibodies. It makes sense, everyone? Is it clear, Arpit, Matthew?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, great. So now final thing is we figured out cancer. We know what is cancer, how to detect cancers, what causes cancers. So it's also all the more important to talk about treatments. Are there treatments of cancer? Like in case of AIDS, there was no treatment, there was just prevention. Can we treat cancer?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What are the, at least we can try. And what are the common approaches by which we can treat cancer?
Sir, it could be surgical method.
Let me just tell you quickly that it will not be one thing that we will be doing, because we know that cancer is some very serious problem. So it's not like we will decide which one to go with. In almost all the cases of cancer, if it is not detected at a very early stage where we know that tumor is yet not very big, mostly it is a combination of all these approaches. So there are 3 approaches. Yes, tell me, Arpit.
Surgery
Surgery of what?
of the tumor.
Yes. So we call it surgical. Surgical removal of tumor. It for sure it helps, because if you have a cancerous tumor in your body has to fight that tumor, try to kill it. If you remove a major part of it, the job of your body will be easy. You can remove that tumor, let's say. But what is the problem associated with cancer? That tumor, even if a few cells from that tumor are left behind, or if it would have already traveled through blood to some other area, any other tumor can develop anywhere in the body, correct?
Yes, sir.
So that's why it's not a foolproof treatment. But yes, it helps a lot. And this is mostly the first thing that doctors do if they detect a tumor, cancerous tumor, they first go for surgical removal if the body allows. Only in case of very old patients where they will not survive um, the surgery, or if they are diabetic, or if they have high blood pressure, or if they have some other comorbidities where we cannot do surgery, then you don't do it. Otherwise, you go for tumor removal in all cases. Second is,
Chemotherapy.
yes, we call it immunotherapy. Chemotherapy is called chemotherapy because we use chemicals for that therapy, but basically it is immunotherapy where we are using chemicals to help the immune system kill. Okay. And the third is,
Radiation therapy.
yes, it's called as radiotherapy. So chemotherapy or radiotherapy. So in this, we use high radiation waves to kill the cancerous cell. Now, let me tell you one thing about cancerous cells that is not given in NCERT is that imagine being a cancerous cell. A normal cell is not dividing all the time, right? It is also not growing all the time. Once it reaches its full potential, its full size, it stops. But cancerous cells continuously keeps dividing. So the one difference between the cell cycle of a cancerous cell and a normal cell is that you must have seen in normal cell division, after the synthesis phase, there is a very long resting phase, right? Where the cell is not dividing, just resting and making some proteins and growing in size, etc., etc. Correct?
Yes, sir.
This you have studied in class 11. In cancerous cells, that in between wait period is not there. So they divide, grow a little, then again divide, grow a little, again divide, and keep on doing this. So don't you think it's a very energy taking process?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So don't you think that cancer takes a lot more energy than normal cells to just survive?
Yes, sir.
So if I choke cancerous cells of energy, of glucose, can cancerous cells survive?
No, sir.
So why can't we do that? In fact, scientists tried to do that for a very long time. Some sense of success was there, but The problem with cancer is it's not just the cells that keep on dividing. Cancerous cells are amazing at siphoning for themselves. So they know that they need a lot of energy. So in every tumor of cancer, there is something called blood vascular systems development. It's called angiogenesis. They also start making new blood vessels. So these blood vessels keep supplying to these cancerous cells going deep within the tumor. Otherwise, imagine a tumor. It is so densely compact that the cells which are at the center, at the core, how are they getting oxygen and nutrition, right? Thought of it ever? Just give me a moment. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So did you understand it? So cancer cells require a lot of energy. So one of the reasons that if you want to kill these cells, you have to deprive them of energy. Otherwise, what they will end up doing is, as they will grow and become a tumor, they will invade the nearby cells, kill them, because they will deprive them, starve them, and use all their energy for themselves. That is what cancers actually do. They make the organs weak because they invade and plunder every resource to survive. And the normal cells keep dying. Yes or no? Okay. So in immunotherapy, we give chemicals. In surgical, we remove the tumor by surgery. And in radiation, we give high energy radiation waves to kill. But none of this is completely a cure, because in immunotherapy, when we are giving these chemicals, they also have side effects. They also kill other kind of cells in the body, both radiation therapy and immunotherapy. The most common side effect of cancer is, you must be knowing, is people go bald. They lose their hair. Have you seen cancer patients getting bald when they are they are going treatment?
Yes, sir.
Many celebrities have, they have fought cancer and they have come out of it. You will always see their pictures with no hair on the head. So people donate hair to make wigs for people who are suffering with cancer and undergoing these therapies, because the hair follicles, they die. They do not develop in cancer treatment. Follicle is a kind of a bunch of cells, right? Correct. There is one kind of chemical which can be asked in your NEET, is alpha interferons. Just know the name. Alpha interferons are immune system activators. What are they? Immune system activators. They are given to people who are undergoing these immunotherapy, cancer treatment, and it helps the immune system to destroy tumor. But it's not that easy to destroy a cancerous tumor. But remember the name, okay? Alpha interferons. Okay, so I think this is all that we had to do. So we finished everything about it, and I hope everything is clear.
Yes, sir.
And Z. Okay. So though I plan to start biotechnology today, but then let's start fresh tomorrow and take it on. Okay, go back, read, come up with your doubts. tomorrow.
Biotechnology or microbes?
Before microbes in human welfare, I'll go for biotechnology because that's a more conceptual chapter. Microbes is more of like fact-based chapter with very few concepts. So that will do later. In one of the extra classes, I'll take it. So I'll give that chapter once I start biotechnology. I'll tell you certain things and give microbes in human welfare as a homework read from NCERT. You will realize that most of the things are just to know. For
So
example,
it's easy, sir. Very
yeah,
easy.
which organism is used to make cheese. So you will know that it's a bacteria called Shermani, Propionibacterium shermani, which is used to make antibiotics. So it's Penicillium notatum, a fungi. So Lactobacillus is used to make curd, things like that. You just have to remember things. There are a couple of concepts related to sewage treatment plant that I will take with biotechnology. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, sir.